Today we have with us Thomas Stegman, who is the Dean and Professor of New Testament at the Boston College School of Theology and Ministry, and Jane Regan, who is Chair of the Department of Religious Education and Pastoral Ministry and Director of Continuing Education at the Boston College of Theology and Ministry. Thank you so much for joining us today at Crux.
Thank you for having us.
Good, happy to be here.
First of all, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourselves? So where you come from, how you came to Boston College.
So I'm a Jesuit from the U.S. Midwest province and was assigned to teach at Weston Jesuit School of Theology, which was one of the constituents that made up this school. That was back in 2003. The school formed in 2008 at Boston College, along with our colleagues from the Institute of Religious and Pastoral Ministry. So I've been at Boston College for 10 years, teaching very happily New Testament, researching and writing, and 2 years ago I was tapped to be dean of the school.
And I'm Jane Regan, and I am on the chair of the Department of Religious Education and Pastoral Ministry. And I came into the STM from the other direction. The STM is made up of both Weston School of Theology as well as the Institute of Religious Education and Pastoral Ministry. So I've been at BC for about 25 years, but have been part of the school for the past 10. We're just moving into our 10th anniversary celebration. So we begin it kind of with this.
And this is terrific. So we're celebrating here a very important milestone for the school. And you're going to take this opportunity and we're going to discuss where everything is going right now. What are your plans going forward and the new technologies that can help perhaps move this to a next step and challenges and opportunities. So if you already helped me a lot by offering me a background of how the school was born and how it was a mixture of two schools, right? Can you explain that to us a little bit more?
Yes. So these two schools at one level had similar missions, training and helping people doing ministry in the church. When Weston Jesuit School of Theology ended its existence in 2008, the student body was a little more than 150, and about half of those students were Jesuits. So Jesuit seminarians or young priests. We were training them for ministry alongside of lay students. Our colleagues from the Institute also were training people for ministry, but a different constituency.
Right. So we were primarily lay people, and we always had some ordained people as well as members of religious communities. So we really brought two complementary and two groups of people who work together in the church, obviously, the ordained and the and lay people, and had the opportunity to really create a new coming together of those two groups, so that all of everything that we do includes everybody. So that there's it's now at about 400 students and includes a wide range of people.
The student, we've grown the school, we've almost doubled the size of the student body in 10 years. And the demographics are approximately 18% Jesuit, about 25 to 27% religious, and then of course the rest lay students, and women make up, I think, 52% of the student body now. And we have a strong international presence as well, which is about 1/4 of the student body. So very, very diverse, which is really what the church is. And in some respects, I think what we're able to do here is have the church in miniature and train our students within that context.
So before this diverse, and I mean, what were the challenges of adapting the education? I'm sure that the ways that the two schools taught before were different. How did they meld and become complementary?
Jane, you're not supposed to ask us such hard questions.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
It's a very good question. It's a very good question.
It's interesting. The first couple of years were kind of rocky as we each brought in our own kind of culture, our own way of doing things, and we couldn't do everything. So kind of like a family coming together. And this is how we do Christmas. Well, yeah, but this is how we do Christmas. We really had those kinds of experiences. But we also soon learned that that we were more the same than we thought, and that we shared a common conviction of the need to bring both good theology and good ministerial formation together, and that became kind of what brought us together over the course of the 10 years. So we celebrate the 10 years with a really positive sense of connection.
And achievement. And for someone like myself who covers the Catholic Church, I can tell you that it is a church in miniature, fixing and adapting. So absolutely, congratulations. Now we'll go back to kind of more mainstream questions that aren't tickled for my curiosity. Let's discuss what are really the most significant challenges that are facing ministry formation today.
Well, one challenge, to be quite frank, and I'm learning this more and more, position as an administrator, is finances. And a school like ours, we talked about the growth of the school. The school has not only grown in terms of the number of students, but being a place like Boston College, we've raised our stature in terms of academic profile. And the students that we are attracting and we're competing with at other schools, those schools have more resources than we do. So in some respects, to use a sporting metaphor, we're boxing against folks a couple weight classes higher than us. So one of the challenges is, especially for our lay students, is getting financial resources for scholarship and providing opportunities for them here on campus to find ways to supplement the scholarship as well. So that's one major challenge. Another major challenge that's more existential and perhaps more interesting is we talked about the diversity of our student body. And one of the things that I'm very proud of that our faculty has really wrestled with and continues to wrestle with these last couple of years is, what does it mean to teach across this diversity? On the one hand, we have everyone at this school wants to be here. So we go into a classroom to teach. We're not teaching students who don't want to be in that classroom. That's a real blessing. On the other hand, it's a little bit like a one-room schoolhouse. And what I mean by that is you have a lot of diversity in that classroom. Diversity in terms of ethnicity, diversity in terms of age, diversity in terms of past experience, diversity in terms of their interests, diversity in terms of learning styles. And this is one of the things I think our colleagues from the Institute of Religious Ed and Pastoral Ministry are helping us understand is pedagogically there's there's more ways to skin a cat than one. So how does one reach out to these different constituencies and also bring their richness and experiences and wealth to bear? Because by and large, our faculty, while we do have 5 Latina faculty members, we're fairly homogeneous as a faculty. And so our perspectives need to be broadened as well. So those would be 2 major challenges, the financial, but more existentially, I think the pedagogical.
Professor Regan, would you like to add something?
Yeah, my addition was not only do they come from different places, but they go back to different settings. And so teaching in a classroom of people who are preparing for ordination, people who are preparing for pastoral ministry in a parish setting, or people who are preparing for other kinds of ministry that are faith-based. So we have a number of hybrid degrees in which people are getting their degree in social work and in pastoral ministry, getting their degree in counseling and in pastoral ministry, so that the seeing how those two connect and recognizing that the people who leave your class are going into very different kinds of things. Some of them are going to be high school teachers, some of them are going to be campus ministry, some of them are going to be running a not-for-profit organization. So getting them to engage in conversation together around the common theme, and at the same time recognize its application for their own experience is a challenge. It's an exciting challenge, but it's a challenge.
But how can, instead a university, offer the kind of support for ministries working in the church? What is the role of a university who would like to help that?
Well, one of them is just to mention again the dual degrees, so that we have our School of Education here at Boston College is one of the best in the country, and so that our students get to study here and to study at the Lynch School of Ed. so that we have a lot of resources that the university offers. We have a large theology department. We have schools of ed, schools of social work, schools of business, all of which provide us with resources that our students can take advantage of. So that's one of the very, very basic ways in which drawing from the university is a real positive piece.
Yes, and also we recognize what we do here is Catholic theology, but our students are going to go into a world that's much more diverse. And so we belong to a consortium of theological schools in which our students can get exposed to other religious traditions, not just other Christian traditions, but with Jewish and Muslim traditions as well. We don't have to do it all ourselves. And so one of the advantages of being part of a university is having these resources that we can point our students and in effect, particularize their education to the needs that they have and the interests they have going forward. So another thing about a university is we're able to, we have the resources to bring people together to reflect theologically on important topics. And so one of the ways we serve the church is, I think, to help the church do its best thinking and reflection on not only how the Word of God gets translated today, but how it speaks to particular issues. And I think that's something, it's both a privilege we have, but it's also a responsibility we have as a university.
So building up on this thing that you were explaining to me, what are the greatest things that your program offers people studying ministry in a world that, as you described, has increasingly more complex and diverse issues? I mean, what do you believe, in your opinion, to be one of the things that you can get through this education at Boston College, and that helps them to kind of address this once they're in their everyday life, whether they do become school teachers or continue on this path?
So I would say, from my perspective, and we've just gone through a strategic planning process, so part of this is going to reflect, I think, where we've been, but also where I want us to go. A blessing of being in a city like Boston is very cosmopolitan, and so our students see the world, not only the church in miniature at Boston College, but in some respects they see the world in miniature at Boston and in Boston, and see the complexities involved. My concern is that theology gets brought to bear on crucial issues in the world. And so one of the overall themes, ministerial themes that I want us to focus on, in part coming from the Society of Jesus and the last general congregations, is how do we minister reconciliation in the world? How do we do ministry in a world in which there's so many polarities? Those polarities exist in the church, they exist in society, they exist all over the place. And in many cases, people on both sides of the divides are drawing upon, they're making religious claims. So how do we train people to, first of all, become good listeners? To be a reconciler, first of all, you have to listen to different people's stories. You have to understand why differences exist, but also try to be bridge builders in a way that move people going forward. And I think a place like ours is in effect a crucible to start practicing those habits. Our students are very different. They're also different ideologically, which I think is wonderful, because there's the church, as Pope Francis keeps reminding us, it's a big tent, right? So learning the skills to bring people together and to bring people together, hopefully to address problems. I mean, right now, what's facing us here in the US is the whole issue of immigration and displaced peoples. We have something I think important to say in that context. And I would like our students to be sensitized to these things, and to become passionate about these issues. And in whatever, you don't have to be on the border to minister to this situation. And so those would be a couple of examples of how I think we're well positioned, and I think we're starting to respond to real needs in the world today.
Professor Regan? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, that's okay. One of the ways that we do that also is through our continuing education. So, for example, about a month ago, we had a presentation on immigration and Catholic social teaching. And what does Catholic social teaching say about our response to immigrants and our response to migrants? And the bringing in people from both the BC community as well as outside the BC community to have those kinds of conversations is a crucial thing that the university can provide that can't be done in any other setting. We have the leisure, although it doesn't feel like leisure, but we do have the leisure to reflect and to study and to think about these topics. And we have a responsibility then to share that and to share the resources of Boston College to the church at large. And that's one of the primary ways we do that is through our continuing education process, which includes both on-campus lectures and presentations, as well as online courses. And so it's how we do those, address those questions with the people outside the university is also key.
I'm curious to know, as education changes and online education is becoming more and more of a trend, how's your school adapting to that change?
I'm going to defer to the expert here.
Thank you. Well, two ways we do that. One is, as I mentioned, through the online courses, which we call Crossroads, which are 4 to 6 weeks long and give people real exposure to our own faculty. Our own faculty are the people who are part of these courses. In addition to that, we've also begun over the past 3 or 4 years a hybrid MA degree. So it's an MA that involves having summers on campus, 3 summers on campus, and then the rest of it can be done online. You know, many universities and many of our colleagues have gone in the direction of having a totally online degrees. And for now, we've decided not to go in that direction. We've decided that the experience of being together for liturgy, for spiritual formation, for social connection is worth asking people to come to Boston College. Not to mention Boston's a great city to come to.
Absolutely.
And so that gives them then a foundation which they then bring into the courses online. So you're often working with cohorts who have been together for a summer and then are online together in courses. And it's been a quite successful in getting us started in this direction. They're really excited about what that promises. So that the online courses give people an opportunity to continue to work at the same time get their degrees.
Well, thank you so much for spending this time with us. And we are very grateful at Crux for having your expertise at this Boston College School of Theology and Ministry and telling us about the exciting new things that are happening in this very diverse and complex environment. To all those who are listening, I would like to say that if you're interested in learning on how to listen or how to better understand the world of today and all the issues that were so appropriately and well described by our guests here today, check out the School of Ministry at Boston College. And if you can't be there the whole time, we've just learned that you can follow the online courses and still get a chance to build bridges and to better understand this changing society. For the rest, thank you for watching. Keep reading and watching Crux for the best in news, commentary, and analysis on the Catholic world. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.